Hey, how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Jersey all day, baby.
You're listening to the Red Out Podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome into a Red Out short clip here. This is from our latest episode. Hope you enjoy.
People.
Tunnel Bob.
Dude, seriously though, how great is Tunnel Bob?
I want to say first off, somebody commented on your piece and was like, "Oh, it's so funny," and I was like, "Huh." So
Somebody said something. Since I didn't write it, since I didn't post it, I didn't see any stats or comments.
I just Matt McKay was talking about it. He's like, "Oh, it was so funny." Blah 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 blah. So bored one day, I was just sitting there on the pot doing paperwork. And I was like, hey, let's see what it is. So I started reading it, and it's really funny, so you guys should check it out on Towel Rack. And you can have a nice laugh because we did win, so it didn't matter.
Exactly. And not only, we can make fun of them.
Exactly.
And feel good about it, unlike some of the other ones where I ruthlessly make fun of people and then we lose.
Yeah. But you get your jabs in. That's all that matters.
I pulled no punches on the Wisconsin one. I was kind of nicer to St. Mary's because I have nothing against the Gales. And they have a really cool mascot. Or at least they do now, they used to not. But yeah, no, that's what we're going to talk about today. It's pretty much a basketball-centric day because there's nothing else going on. We're not in any bowls or anything.
No, I mean...
Thanks,
yeah.
Sanford. So,
yeah. So I guess we'll just talk about Wisconsin.
How much they suck!
Crazy atmosphere. The attendance is estimated at 76-14. We're supposed to hold 73-26.
Yeah, it was standing room only.
So,
supposedly.
Fire Marshal, don't show up, dude, because, yeah, it's fine.
It's
whatever.
fine. He was probably cheering too.
Probably right,
I was
especially
there,
Bowling
guys.
Green.
It was awesome. It was
Yeah.
the best I've ever seen there. And I went to the Marshall game and a couple other big ones last year, but it was great to see, all red in there. I mean, even like the couple Wisconsin, but being the same day as the UK U of L game, I think I might have saw like only 2 or 3 people even wearing UK gear, which was shocking to me. So
Yeah,
big
typically the
props
blue
to
gets
the
in.
local Bowling Green people. So
Yeah, I think you're going to have that everywhere, but I still love the fact that it was all red. Well, obviously, because
Because Wisconsin.
they're red too. But, it's fine.
Our red is better.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Bowling Green crowd, and it's a top 20 team. Wisconsin was 15th. How far do they drop after that?
Have they released? I actually haven't checked the AP standings.
I haven't checked
they're
either.
still in the top 25. That's all that matters. So.
That's right.
Hey, that's
Still
a
ranked.
great win. It helps Western's resume. I mean, sadly, they need all the help they can get with losses to Missouri State, Indiana State, and Central Florida.
Shh. Those things didn't happen. The coach said it's a brand new season, guys. Didn't you hear him in that really cool video they posted? It's a brand new season.
Sure.
Just saying.
So I've come to the realization that our at-large is pretty much doomed unless we ran the table in Conference USA. I mean, if you did that, you'd finish 25-6 or something like that. But if we do win the conference tournament, all these wins that we've stacked up, we're going to get like an 11 or 10 seed or something really good that's going to give us have a shot to win a couple games in there. So we get in, even though we're frustrated by those crappy losses, the wins are going to outshine that when it comes to comparing us to Murray or Belmont or whoever. So.
Absolutely. And I mean, talking about kind of the March chances, I firmly believe at-large is completely shot. When you're a group of 5 school who is not a perennial like Power 6, Power 7 league, right? The bad losses, I firmly believe, hurt you more than great wins help you, because you don't get the benefit of the doubt that a lot of perennial powers do. So if we were
sitting 9-3 right now, or let's see, we're 13. If we were sitting at 10-3 right now, I affirm, and you erased all those bad losses and had all these good wins, we would have an at-large shot. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. If it wasn't for the 3 bad losses,
we just don't have any margin for error.
No, and we don't. And I was actually thinking about it there. I was like, okay, we're sitting at 7-6, so it's a 13 games. So how many more games does that leave? It's like 17-ish games, 30-game season, right? How many can you afford to lose and still be seen as, like you're talking about, that 10, 11, kind of 12 seed line if you were to get in? And then you start looking at, okay, well, let's say it's not double-digit losses. Let's say we stay out of double-digit losses. So could you go through 17 games and only lose, say 3 of them or 4 of them? Is that feasible for the Tops?
3 games is, I don't know. It's pretty tough. I mean, especially with North Texas sitting at 13-1 right now.
I will believe North Texas when I see them in conference.
Yeah, I'm kind of a show me person too, and them being from Texas, everything's bigger there. But
it's okay. Here's my only thing with North Texas. Like we talked about in the chat, any team that's only lost 1 at this point in the season is good. They're good. I'll give them good. That's fine. How good? I do not know because they don't. The only team they've actually played that's like a proper Power 5, like a real team, they lost. Now they were able to beat Indiana State, which we weren't able to do.
Now, okay.
Oklahoma was the team that, they lost by 16 to them. So.
Right.
Yeah, they lost to Oklahoma. They beat Hawaii, which they have to import basketball, so that's understandable.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they beat Maine. And like you said, they beat Indiana State. So, I mean, and they threw up 103 against Rice, which I don't know how Rice is.
I just assume Rice is bad.
They're 5-9, apparently.
I assume Rice is bad.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the Wisconsin game. What are some takeaways that you guys had from it? Ross, you want to go?
Yeah, since you were there, buddy, we'll let you talk about it.
Oh, yeah, sure. I've got about 3 or 4 that I really want to hit on. First would be kind of Bassey's play. I mean, he was very efficient looking at the stats. I think he only missed 1 field goal the entire day.
Yep, 7 of 8.
I mean, you had another big... He shows up when he needs to. I mean, every time he plays a big quality big man, this time, All-American candidate Ethan Happ, he goes for 19 points, 4 blocks. I mean, he just dominated the inside. 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 for 5 from free throw line. I mean, he was just amazing. And, I mean, that was the first time I'd seen him in person, first time I got to see Western. His leg, his knee is a different, I don't know if it's been cupped or it looks like his knee has a giant bruise on it still, and he's just wearing a little rubber band on it. I mean, it's amazing how much he shows up when the opponent's the biggest. The thing is, can he show up when you don't have Wisconsin or Arkansas or whoever on your schedule, and you have to, come on, FIU. I mean, that's what I want to start seeing from him, some more consistency against our lesser opponents.
No, I definitely agree with that, and he has shown up. It's almost like when he has a challenge, he takes it seriously and plays hard. But if he sees it, I mean, like they said after Troy, I mean, they literally just were like, we took it for granted, we're sorry. Which I appreciate, the honesty, but at the same time, it's like, man, when you guys get your stuff together, you absolutely are a force to be reckoned with. And that's kind of what, Stan said after the game. He's like, look, we got glimpses of how good you guys could be when you had your stuff together against St. Mary's, and I think his term was, we got an eye full of it against Wisconsin.
Yeah. Completely agree. I mean, they show up for Arkansas, West Virginia, those big teams in Wisconsin. I mean, and it's like, we need you to show up for
the
Charlotte,
yeah.
ODU, Missouri State, Troy, like you were talking about. And I think Troy was probably the lowest point this season.
Yeah, so far.
Knock on wood.
In the first season, because now there's a second season. It's brand new. Everything's reset.
It's a new world order. Yes,
new world order.
Well, to go back to the game, some other people I really wanted to hit on. Welcome back, Jake Omer.
Yeah, right?
Jake's got to stick together.
He did exactly what I think his potential is. I don't think he's ever going to be a starter anymore. He's ever going to be a star or whatever. But you can depend on him to play 5 to 7 minutes a game, hit 1 or 2 big threes, and not screw up. Just be a little, not have your play drop off whenever Banton's not in the game, or if Hollingsworth or Anderson need a break. You can put Jake in there, and just know that you're going to get some solid play. And I think the crowd went nuts when he hit that three. It was amazing, and that block was awesome.
I was about to say, and he's going to get a block every game from now on, right? Like he's going to block other small white guards.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get in is great.
That exactly. Well,
the thing is that we were complaining is they weren't extending that bench, and it was the most frustrating part. And you could see why aren't you benching Hollingsworth when he's having a bad game, and why aren't you extending the lineups where you're playing more of the hot hand instead of living and dying with bad shooting performances?
Yeah, you have to trust your bench when you've got the players. I mean, we've talked about Omer kind of getting either he's got confidence issues or maybe he feels like he was recruited over or whatever. But we've seen if he gets a shot, honestly, he can still play and provide valuable minutes. Like I said, even if it's just to get the team and the crowd back in it, or to provide a breather for, say, a Banton or a Hollingsworth or whoever, he just needs a shot.
Yeah. I mean, he got in there for 16 minutes, looks like, but it still looks like Stans wants to. He's got the hunk of the team getting. He's got 5 guys. He's going to get the majority minutes too, basically.
And I mean that's not uncommon.
That's fine. Yeah.
I'm good with that. It's just, and it seems like, I mean, you can't really complain with this because they beat Wisconsin. So it's like, maybe this group of guys is where it is. So speaking of that, how big a loss is Merrick Nelson?
Meh.
Yeah.
Meh.
Minimal.
Yeah.
You guys have.
I mean, I think he's an energy guy. He's not gonna be one of those who pouts when he doesn't get the ball and score. And I mean, he's proven like, okay, he'll hustle for you. But I mean, I set the over under at 2.5 games. Him being out. Maybe after seeing this, maybe Stansbury really makes an example, puts him out for 5. But who knows? I mean, hopefully he comes back focused, and the message is sent. I mean, I think the real person we all got to be excited about after Saturday's win is Banton.
Yeah, absolutely.
Banton you can see the last 2 games. He went from Washington where he was allergic to defense pretty much most of the season, but he couldn't even string together a pass without turning the ball over or anything like that. I mean, he was 2 points from a triple-double, 13 rebounds, 11 assists.
Yep.
I mean, he was just, you can really see that his height, I mean, he was pretty much playing the point guard on offense and the 4 on defense. It was amazing to see.
Well, do you think his improved defensive production in this could be related to going to man, so that he doesn't necessarily have to understand the switching of the zone?
I could see that, and I could see that they're trying to switch him off of the smaller guards that are just going to be able to run around him. Because obviously with that new height that he has, that he's not completely used to,
he's like a baby deer
he
out
just
there.
doesn't feel confident in front of those smaller guards.
I just think it's funny when you say he has new height. It's like, what's he on stilts? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, he's actually. Those are actually not his real legs.
Those are not. Those are completely synthetic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like the Anthony Davis situation. He went from 6'3", 6'4" to 6'8", 6'9" in last year or two. So he went from just being a normal guard to a 6'8" point guard, which is just crazy.
Yeah, sorry.
It does give you your center of balance is different. I mean, it is a weird thing. I look for Banton to continue to improve. For me, the things that I really thought were amazing was, 1, overcoming the Wisconsin smothering defense, because they'd only been allowing 61 points per game up to this point and had wins over the likes of ranked Iowa. So that super duper impressed me. I think ball movement had a lot to do with that, and being able to get the right guys in the right position. And then actually playing defense. I know that the Badgers scored about what they normally do, but that normally wins the game for them.
Yep.
But Western was able to, and I'm not sure what it was about playing man defense, but they were able to keep the distance in themselves and were able to play 3-point defense, which is something they have not been able to do all year.
Yeah.
And I know that Wisconsin came into this game shooting 40% from 3, and they ended up holding them to the high 20s from 3-point range. I think Davison had a lot to do with what they were able to score, which we can get into Floppy McFlopperston in a second. But that was my key thing was they sat down on their assignments and didn't allow them to take advantage of the 3, which probably led to the win. So they were able to get. I mean, Happ, even though he wasn't as efficient,
23 shots though, they made him earn his points.
Right, exactly. He wasn't as efficient as he normally is. He still got points, but when
that's Trice either,
but when that was a key thing. Davison perked up a little more, and I don't know if that's because he responded well to all the boos. Which, by the way, how awesome was that? Because we weren't there. Was that great? Just hearing people curse him the entire game.
It was great, and then it was how long can they sustain this? It's not he was a guard, touches the ball so much, it kind of became hard to sustain. When he airballed after the boo and all that, it was awesome, but as the game got by, it kind of got a little tedious a little bit too, just to keep saying just keep booing this guy who's going off, right? Who ended up going off for 26 against you, so.
Yeah, I mean, he got his, but like you say, when him and Hap aren't super, of course, I actually don't know how efficient Davison was, but when the bulk of your points come from two guys and they don't, hit you for 30 apiece, there's not a lot they can say. Even if they have a good game, the rest of your guys were single-digit scorers. So, piss off?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, but look. I mean, even if you look at our numbers, we didn't have 26 by any means. We had 22 with Hollinsworth and 19 with Bassey.
Yeah, 4 guys in double digits.
Yeah, but that's 16, 15.
And Anderson, all 15 and 16. That's everybody pretty much, nutted up and played. I mean, pretty much up to their potential. Like you just saw guys. Nobody was really forcing shots. Nobody was, Hollinsworth just lived off that little, drive to the basket, step back jumper that he's been. That's probably his best move. And it was just amazing to see all the balance with the scoring too.
I think my biggest shock looking at the shot chart here is there was only one 3-pointer made on that left wing or the upper wing if you're looking at it, and that was by Pretzi, and that guy wasn't even a starter. He was just on the bench.
For Wisconsin, yeah. That's wild.
That
to be able to deny him, on that right side of the wing, it's crazy.
That wing was done. Whoever had that side, but,
whoever locked him down, and that's another thing. I will say that I do not, and I don't think we should as fans expect the level of second half performance that we got night in and night out from the Tops. I think that is I don't know if it's a ceiling, but it's darn near close to it about how well they can play. But I do think that first half-ish, only being down 4 to one of the best teams in the country, I think that is a nice median level of play that fans should expect night in and night out from the Tops, whether home or away, aside from maybe 1 or 2 clunkers that they put out there. And I think that level of performance is good enough to beat the rest of the teams that they play, and frankly, most of the teams they'll see, even if they get to the tournament, to be perfectly honest with you. I
mean, it's a maturity issue, the complete issue with this team, with last year's team. With the 2018 team, it's a maturity issue, obviously, because either you look at teams and you say, psh, why do I have to prepare for them? It's Troy. But I think the second half.
To say that as talented as they are, it's all freshmen and sophomores for the most part. If we look across the thing, Savage is a junior, but him
and Bearden aren't vocal leaders.
Anderson freshman, Bassey freshman, Band freshman. That's a lot of people, a lot of lower classmen that, it's taken time to gel, and it's been frustrating to see. But when we're on, we're on.
Yeah, and this is like the most exciting and equally frustrating Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde sort of team. And it's like, God, but that's the thing. And that's kind of what I said. I think I said it in the post once. It was, we cannot change the crappy losses. They're here. No. Our record is what it is. The resume is what it is for the non-con. So all you can do is go and get the best conference tournament seeding you can get, and then try to win a couple games in a row to get in the tournament. That's what you have control over that. Now go do it.
I think exactly.
You want to know what blows my mind?
What blows your mind?
This is only our second winning streak of the season.
That does seem odd.
That does. I agree with that.
Yeah, we won UT Martin to West Virginia for 3 in a row, and then we alternated losses, or had 2 losses in a row. Beating St. Mary's in Wisconsin was the first time we put back-to-back wins on the board. I'd say we played 5 great quarters in a row, or great halves in a row, starting with the second half of that Belmont game.
Well, there goes Charlotte.
Yeah, right?
Now we got Charlotte. What's going to happen? Exactly.
God,
as superstitious as I am, we're screwed.
It's like we're hosed. Everybody, sacrifice those chickens. Say your rain prayers, whatever you got to do.
Do the little snake against the locker, Major League style.
Absolutely.
Love that movie. I think we'll have, with the momentum coming out of this Wisconsin win, if you come out pumped and not overinflated ego, I think you can take Charlotte and ODU very easily.
ODU's pretty good.
ODU very easily at all, but
ODU's pretty good.
Charlotte, yes.
Charlotte's like 3-8. or something.
ODU is okay. I'm sorry, they're 10-3.
Yeah, ODU's. So
Yes,
us,
okay.
Old Dominion, and North Texas are kind of right now seen as kind of the better teams. UAB also up there. We'll see what Marshall looks like.
Marshall is right with us basically. So that could be a really good game.
That absolutely should be a good game,
And that'll keep the rivalry going for another year.
especially because they're in the middle is completely gutted.
Let's just hope that we get the last second shot this year.
I don't want to
To
come
win.
down to that last
I
second
agree,
shot.
but
I want to win the conference finals by 30.
I watched a little bit of that Marshall Virginia game yesterday.
Oh God, you haven't
because I
seen
was
that? Have you seen
curious.
that? Oh
and,
man.
You can tell Marshall really misses Pineva, their big man. That basically, if they're not hitting shots, they don't play enough defense, and their guards don't carry them. So basically, if Western comes out and is ready to lock down on defense, I'm not as worried about Marshall as I was coming into the season.
So Devin didn't see the Virginia debacle that Marshall. So, I mean, I didn't see there, but I saw you guys mention it, and so Virginia. Just in case you're wondering,
Who's a really good team.
No, they're an excellent team. They're really, really good. Even though they lost to NBC, whatever.
Yeah.
They routinely only score like 53 or 55 points and win. They're known as a super duper heavy defensive pace team. Yeah, and he's looking at their stats now, or their scores now. You see 60s, 50. But they scored. I think it's the first time they've scored 100 in Tony Bennett's career, or at least with Virginia, and it's like, holy crap!
I'm averaging the points right now, just in case you'll hear my phone
You
clicking.
can go ahead and click on it if you go to their statistics up there at the top.
Oh, you suck, dude. Just let me have my math.
That's fine. No, so I think that, we can just put a bow on the Wisconsin. It's an excellent victory. It was a well-balanced thing. Defense stood out to me. And hopefully we can go, into the conference not with our head up our butts.
I would like to see us come out towards the top of the conference. Not win out, because that's kind of unfeasible.
Yeah, it's like that.
But I think it's a possibility to come out towards the top. And depending on how the cards fall, I mean, you could come out first or second conference. I mean, of course, they were predicted to win the conference, and then that kind of got pulled pretty quick. But
I'd say talent-wise, we have the talent to win the conference. And we've already shown we have the potential to do it. It's just, can we? I mean, looking at the standings, we said North Texas, but we know they haven't played anybody.
Yep.
And we've got Old Dominion, who plays that Virginia slow-down style, and we handled them 3 times last season.
Yep.
So, I think, we take care of business against Charlotte on Thursday, and, as long as old, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde doesn't show up, I don't see that being a problem with their rebuilding style. But Old Dominion will really be a big bellwether game for us this Saturday. I'm just convinced on the road. If we win that, we're turning the corner. We'd be on a 4-game winning streak, and then we can really just say, okay, this team has been through some stuff, but let's turn the page, and we're going to establish ourselves. So we'll see.
Okay, so just kind of looking ahead here, Western is predicted to win by 87%.
According to the BPI.
According to, the ESPN's BPI Basketball Power Index, we're supposed to win. So, that's positive.
I mean, Charlotte's not a very good team. Though I will say, I want to kind of retract the statement that I was going to make fun of them for losing to, Charleston. Because what the hell is Charleston? But apparently they're, really good and have some wins over, some great teams. And they're going to win their conference and, be a tournament team.
What is Charleston's mascot? That's what I want to know.
Who knows? I don't know.
Now I got to look this up.
What is it?
Cougars.
Cougars. Do you just know that off the top of your head, Ross? It's kind of sad, but...
Or did you just make that up?
Oh, that's my friends. I'm the king of useless knowledge.
The king of useless knowledge.
Congratulations, he was correct.
Nice, yeah, the Cougars.
Which is awesome.
I mean, Cougars are awesome. I agree.
Charles.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Looks like got a score update for you Kentucky fans. Looks like the Wildcats beat the Nittany Lions.
They held on. They only tinkled a little bit down their leg, not a full-blown urine stream, so that's good.
Yeah, it survived a 27-7 lead and held on to 27-24 and ran out the clock. So
the first
Cats
time
had their biggest season in 4 years.
Yeah, first time they've had 10 wins in 40 years, probably.
This will be the best UK season that our lives will see.
Oh, no doubt. Easily, yeah. I mean, hey, I'm completely happy for Kentucky because if football is good for Kentucky and Louisville and Western, then it's good for the state. I mean, that's my
I'm just
outlook.
interested to see what happens to them when Josh Allen's gone. I mean,
And like the rest of their defense.
the best player I've ever seen.
Josh Allen is a
for them.
beast.
What's that?
Josh Allen is a beast.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
He is a
He's an
legitimate
absolute
D1
monster.
prospect. I mean, and it's funny that Kentucky ended up with him. I mean, because Kentucky historically is not a place that athletes like Josh Allen go. Josh Allen typically...
Well, he was only offered by Monmouth, I think. He was,
Really?
He was just like a basketball player. Yeah, he was a diamond in the rough that only had... His sister played basketball at U of L, Mahisha Hines Allen, but he only had an offer from Monmouth and developed into just a stud just because he had the size and obviously the heart. It was amazing.
That's pretty wild. Actually, that's a fun tidbit. As I don't really follow Kentucky's
I think it's funny,
sports.
though.
I didn't know Hines Allen was his sister.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Why is it telling me that again?
Gotta love
looks
those
like
ESPN
Benny
updates.
Snell has broke the all-time rushing record at Kentucky, too.
All right, enough Wildcats talk.
How'd that UCF LSU game go?
LSU pulled away.
Yeah.
They were up 40 to like 30 or something. With it's still going on, but
It's pretty much over,
it's
right?
pretty. Yeah.
UCF just doesn't have the
Because
horses.
I always go for the little guys. I think it's funny how I would love to get to the A team so we could just, if the stars aligned, Western ran the table and it's 40 to 30 with 2 minutes left. But
Yeah.
just give the little guy a shot. I mean, everybody was excited about UMC beating Virginia in basketball. Why not give the G5 a shot? Even if there's a sacrificial lamb, 9 out of 10, they still deserve. They lose 29 times out of 30 and they win that once. How big a deal would that be?
Oh, absolutely. Well,
In the words of Jim Carrey, there's still a chance. I mean,
so you're saying
Oh, yeah.
there's a chance?
Exactly. So I hate to kind of railroad the talk, but March. Is it too early to talk March or what?
It's never too early to talk March.
No, I mean, it's the best time of year as far as basketball goes.
It's my favorite sporting time of the year. There's nothing like the NCAA tournament. There's not a thing. And like we said, look, right? Unless a miracle happens, Western's not getting at-large bid, so they have to go win the conference.
Yep.
And I think they have a good
Frisco, baby.
Frisco. God, what a... Ross, how do you feel about that tournament setup?
I hate it, but actually I think it's cool. But it's basically they put it in an area where none of the good basketball fan bases of Conference USA can get to.
So
Like, it's in a cool building, it's cool everything else, but like, when you think of the basketball schools in Conference USA, you think us, you think Marshall, you think UAB.
Yep.
Well, none of the West Division teams really move the needle when it comes to passionate fan bases for basketball or even history. UTEP's the only one, and they're 10 hours from Dallas. So, like, what are you doing?
my main problem with it is the setup.
Yeah.
It's set up like an AAU tournament. There's a curtain between them
Yeah.
playing on like 2 different courts at the exact same time. When I found out about that last year, like because last year was the first time they've done it that way. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a freaking
They're
joke.
Birmingham before.
It's like, what? What are you doing? Seriously, you're treating them like a bunch of 16-year-olds that don't know how to play defense. Blows my mind. Is an absolute. See, I'm a lot stronger on this one. I think it's an absolute travesty. I think the conference is stupid for doing it that way. I mean, the only thing I say is it probably saves money, and they're so cheap they don't want to spring for letting them go, in different buildings or at least with more than a curtain between them. Like, are you kidding me? It's like a really bad hospital wing. Like,
Yeah, the curtain is what makes me say ghetto.
It's an absolute joke. It is an absolute joke. Ross, do you know of any other conferences that do that?
No, I mean I've seen Western play in Hot Springs in a ballroom, but they played they had 2 different things, and they played their main games in an actual arena. Went to the thing in Birmingham a couple years ago. That was an easy try. I'm just mad because it's a lot harder for me to get to.
Well, yeah, I mean it just
Yeah.
it just seems unfeasible for Western fans to go to that game.
I mean, like I said, like any actual basketball fandom is not going to go. And I mean, the crowds at some of these things are already pitiful.
Yeah.
I mean, like even when the Big Ten did, like, so the Big Ten's doing theirs in like freaking New York. They bounce back and forth between New York and Lucasville, and it's like you realize no one in New York even knows this is going on. Everybody was like, "Oh, it's a great atmosphere." I was like, "No, the lower bowl was a great atmosphere, but you guys are playing in New York when real stuff's going on. Like nobody cares.
Exactly.
Like play in Indianapolis where people actually give a crap about you." Or like I'm a fan of like NIT style stuff, man. Like I know it's over the course of a weekend, so that's not really feasible, but. You want to make the regular season, if you're not going to make the regular season champ the actual auto bid, you want to make it like the seeding really matter, not just like one bye against a crappy team. Put some like home seeding on it. So 1 and 2 get home games, or 1 gets to play it at their arena, or like close to them, like you do with a regular regional. Like then you're talking about the season really mattering.
Yeah, I mean, that could be really cool with East-West, and then. Then whoever has the best record gets the final game or whatever. I would rather do that scenario than do the Dallas curtain ghetto setup, because I think Little League teams do that. That just sounds,
even they get their own fields.
Yeah, I mean, they even get their own times to play individually. But it just sounds really bad. And even if you did the first, say East-West, do it, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, final on Monday or whatever. I mean, feasibly, that could be really cool.
Literally anything is better than what they do now. Literally.
Exactly.
Well, the biggest problem is the conference is so spread out. There's just really no good spot. I just say you cater to your bigger fan bases that actually care. So
this one's gonna make more money.
Sorry, Russ, you don't get a vote.
Well, you suck anyways.
I mean, even for instance, like let's just say the season ended today. You've got North Texas, which is Denton, Texas, which is like right above Dallas. And then, have
Norfolk,
the West.
Virginia, and Bowling Green, Kentucky, the 3 top teams.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got ODU, so everybody goes to Virginia, which is fine. I'm fine with that. All the East goes to Virginia, everybody else goes to Texas, and then whoever wins out, so since North Texas has a better schedule, you go to Dallas or Denton or wherever. I'm fine with that.
Or if nothing else, try to split the. Just don't put in Texas.
Even Memphis would be fine.
I always loved Nashville as an idea, but they could never pull it off. It was annoying to me.
Yeah,
I always thought Nashville would be great.
Yeah, it would be really good.
Yeah,
but
our way would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, for Western fans, it'd be great.
It'd be real red.
Yeah,
and Middle fans and UAB fans, and then
no,
at least it's a destination.
We always forget about Middle because they're the backfed of Nashville.
Straight ditties.
Well, I mean, they don't have fans too, but still.
Yeah, until they want to complain to Western fans. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed the clip from our latest episode. Subscribe for our weekly Red Out podcast, and always remember, go Tops.